Hey everybody, so let's just get right into it. So, Pokemon. Let's talk about Pokemon. You know Pokemon, right? The turn-based RPG that lets you catch magical little creatures and pit them against each other. We all know that much at least, right? But some people out there, like the new generation of kiddos, only know Pokemon for that. And maybe Pokemon Unite. Or even Pokemon Cafe if you actually find that Diet Pokemon Troze game any fun. Don't even get me started on the Pokemon Quest game, that's literally just a diet version of Mystery Dungeon, and Pokemon Masters as well. It's just every Pokemon game, but you choose a certain master and play a couple matches to pass the time. Pretty much what I'm trying to get at in this video is that the Pokemon Company needs to step up their game and start being like how they were back in the Golden Age, and give us more games besides just the main one. Don't get me wrong though, I do like the main games as much as the next guy, but after constant back-to-back releases of the same thing, it gets kind of stale. I mean, we did get Arceus and it was fun, but in the end it was the same exact game, but with Breath of the Wild free roaming instead of the traditional way. Pokemon Unite is the only quote-unquote new Pokemon game that I can say is actually good and somewhat fun and appealing, and that's a pay-to-play game, so I'm pretty much scraping the bottom of the barrel of compliments for them. Listen, Pokemon Company, you did pretty good on Unite, and Arceus was interesting. But after this last direct, just for DLC on Scarlet and Violet, you guys have fallen. I mean, extra content for a game is always cool to get when it adds more stuff and places to go, but you can't just make a Pokemon Direct for that. I mean, come on, even Konami's first Direct was better than this one, and that was made last year. Pokemon Directs can be something to look forward to again, and you can be a company that makes more than the mainline games again. And I know the exact set of series that will be perfect to start working on and to bring back to the public eye. And in my own opinion, one of the titles is better than the mainline titles. Before the Switch was made, the Pokemon Company in the early 2000s and mid 2000s were pumping out Pokemon games like clockwork, and it was amazing. We had stuff like Pokepark 1 and 2 on the Wii, and even Pokemon Battle Revolution, which was technically just Pokemon Stadium 3 with Gen 4 Pokemon. And even before that, we had a spin-off title on the mainline games on the GameCube with Gale of Darkness. However, the best spin-offs were on the holy grail to handheld gaming, the DS. DS owners, over the years, got newer models, and with newer models, not only do we get new mainline titles, we also got some pretty good spin-offs like Pokemon Troze, a nice little puzzle game that introduced a whole new enemy team, unique to the game, and Pokemon Mystery Dungeons, Explorers of Time and Darkness, two new games in the series after Red and Blue Rescue Team, which was the game that introduced Lucario before the game with the region he appears in. And after that, we got a third one with Explorers of Sky, which added in Shaman, obviously in his Sky form. Hey, are you a tactical RPG fan in the mid-2000s but also like the little designs of the Pokemon? Then boy do I have a game for you, Pokemon Conquest in 2012. We got our very own take on how Pokemon can be a pretty good tactical RPG, with the story being somewhat of a prequel to Black and White, as the two Warlord brothers are previous owners of the two dragons on the box art. Hey everybody, I wanted to take the time to mention my partnership with W Energy. W Energy is a company that specializes in energy drinks that help you focus and give energy with no jitters or worry of crashing after drinking it. It contains a multitude of vitamins and has no artificial colors or fillers, while also having no sugars or calories in it. Not to mention, no maltodextrin, I might add. I still don't know what that is, by the way. If you are interested in the product, please check them out, as they have multiple products from different flavors and different mixers to buy. And while you're at it, if you can use my partner code, TG94, you get 10% off your purchase. Thank you for letting me talk about this subject, and let's get back to the video. After a few years, we got the 3DS, and we got Pokemon Rumble, which introduced the little toy versions of our little creatures with bite-sized dungeons, exploring some with the chances to get legendaries from all previous gens. And they even have a chance to be shiny, so yeah, that's pretty neat. However, I can't forget about the best one when it comes to Pokemon spin-offs. There is one that tops the rest, and that's Pokemon Ranger. In 2006, we got the very first entry of the series, Pokemon Ranger, involving Pokemon from the first 3 gens, and 2 years later, in 2008, we got a sequel with Shadows of Omnia, which added locations near Sinnoh and 4th gen Pokemon. And after that, another 2 years later in 2010, we got the last game in the series, unfortunately, was Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science, making it a pretty good trilogy. 3 good games with their own story in their own locations near the mainline title locations, which explains why we get the Pokemons we do in said games. No Pokeballs? How am I supposed to catch Pokemon, my 7-year-old self said. Well, have no fear, fellow younger Ranger me, cause with your handy dandy capture styler, we don't domesticate the Pokemon, we recruit them for their assistance, and set them back free in the wild for the circle of life to continue. Come to think of it, that's probably the inspiration to N's whole character arc. how Pokemon are friends, not tools. We help them, they help us type thing. So yeah, that's cool if that's why he is who he is. Out of all three of them, I played Shadows of Almia the most, to the point where I tried to do everything I could in the game, to the point where I even made up challenges for myself, like taking no damage, or something I like to call the support lock. It's like a Nuzlocke, but for Pokemon Ranger. You can only use one support each mission, and when you do, you can't recruit the same Pokemon to boost the Styler, so I had to get a good amount of Pokemon in a team to follow me, and use them at the right time, because once I use them, I can't recapture them. I'd have to run around and find a different Pokemon. Pokemon Ranger is my favorite Pokemon title, and I actually really liked the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game since it was my first experience with the dungeon exploring genre in video games. And it's sad to see that these titles are just put in the back and forgotten about. Like, all these old titles, and you chose to bring back Pokemon Snap. Like, why? I mean, it's not a bad game, but you can't take that over Pokemon Ranger or even Mystery Dungeon. I mean, they did remaster Red Rescue Team, so that's cool. We got a quote-unquote new Mystery Dungeon game. I mean, it was better than the last one, that's for sure. But, like, imagine a newer one where you're exploring the lands and underground of Paldea and trying to solve the mysterious cases of terrestrializing Pokemon while you explore with your team in the mysterious and ominous Zone Zero. And you have chances to travel through time and meet the Paradox Pokemon. Like, you could have a Mystery Dungeon game that literally lets you time travel and meet the Paradox Pokemon, and it makes up a story explaining the terrestrialized crystals. Explorers of Crystals or something. Explorers of Time. Wait. Or something even like a new Pokemon Ranger game where you have to save and rescue Pokemon in Galar from Dynamax calamities. And you have to calm the Dynamax Pokemon with a new styler specifically made for them. Like, I don't know, the Dyna Capture styler or something. I don't know, something new besides the DLC, because with past experience, Pokemon Company does have what it takes to make good games, along with their mainline titles. Like, literally the newest thing we got was a new Pokemon, and it's Poltergeist. It's literally just Japanese Sinistea, for crying out loud. It's literally if Sinistea had a Cantonian form. That's all Poltergeist is, however you pronounce it. Look, all I'm saying is that I know I'm not the only one who's been waiting for another Pokemon Ranger game, and I know there's a lot of other people who wouldn't mind seeing other older titles come back as well. But it is still safe to say that it isn't out of the question due to them making stuff like Unite, something new, and remastering older spin-offs like what they did with Red Rescue Team. But I guess all we can do is hope and wait for whenever that time may be when they make a newer entry of the older beloved series.